Yeah, welcome to my talk. My name is Maischein, and what do I want to tell you today? Well, I want to talk a bit about QR codes and what, you can use them, and also what I can use them for. I find QR codes an interesting method of transferring data between two machines, like my mobile phone and my laptop, for example. And I hope to show a bit of an interesting use of QR codes, not just for transferring information, but also for automating some tasks. Who am I? My name is Max Maischein. I'm from Frankfurt in Germany, and I work there for the DZ Bank, the Deutsche Zentralgenossenschaftsbank. It's the central bank of the German cooperative banks, and we provide central services for the smaller banks. But I'm neither doing Perl there nor doing library stuff there. My job title currently is digital currency expert, which mostly means I look at what the ECB is doing with the digital euro project that they are running, and also we are developing a separate currency for corporate customers, the commercial bank money token, which hopes to bring money on chain for corporate customers. But none of that is important today. I'm also a member of the board of the Frankfurt Perlmongers, a Perl user group. We organize a monthly meeting in Frankfurt, and once a year we organize the German Perl workshop. So if you are in Frankfurt, just send us a mail. We can organize an emergency meeting. If you are in town, and if you are in Germany in April next year, there will be the German Perl workshop. If you are interested, feel free to come. So what do I want to show today? Well, a bit about QR codes, how to create them with Perl, and also how to read them, not with Perl, but with a web browser. And ideally, I also want to show how to transfer data between two machines that can see each other, which is for me the main draw of the QR code. You basically ensure physical proximity between two machines, which is an interesting feature. Why QR codes? Well, I've already said it. I want to use them to transfer data between two machines, or this machine and this laptop here maybe, to bring data from one machine to another, maybe, or ideally without sending data over the internet, because that has so many connection problems and so many setup problems with firewalls and whatever. So I prefer simple ways. Also, QR codes don't need electricity to display. This is nice. For example, at home I have the login credentials for my wireless printed out as a QR code, so I don't need to type it in. I just have it on a piece of paper, and guests and whoever can just scan it. And also, you have seen this in restaurants. They have the menu as a QR code, just printed on paper. This is a very easy way to share an URL or other information. Now, here are two QR codes, but what is a QR code? Well, there is an ISO standard for QR codes, but it was retracted. I don't know why. Maybe politics, maybe, I don't know, some deeper thing. I didn't find any real standard from ISO or some other standards organization. But QR standards work, so QR codes work, so who cares about the standard? As long as, the QR code app on your mobile phone or in your browser can read it, who cares? The browser can also read it, and yes, you can print QR codes, so it is a valid means of transferring data between machines. And obviously you can also show it on a computer screen. Now, how do you get to a QR code? Well, this is a bit a talk about Perl, so I'm using Perl. The module imager QR code is a very nice module. You set it up, specify which two colors you want for the bright spots and the dark spots of the QR code, and then you give it the string you want to represent in the QR code, and it gives you back an image with the QR code. And that's basically it. You can then save this image as a PNG image and display it on a website or whatever. That's all you need. Of course, the magic is what to put in this string. Here in the example, I've put blah blah, but that doesn't help. Most browsers prepend, if they don't recognize it, they prepend http:// in front of that. But there are other URLs you can use, like, for example, the web Wi-Fi credentials have their own prefix, and some other users I will come to also have their own prefix. So you need to think a bit about what string you're putting in, but that's all you really need to think about. So it's fairly easy once you have installed the module imager QR code. Why do you need to think a bit about this string? Well, as I learned earlier this year, there is a standard for providing SEPA credit transfer informations in a QR code, which is really great if you want to have payment information like we have for our Perl Club. If you want to participate in the at the German Perl Workshop, you just send us the participation fee by simple credit transfer, because we don't do anything like PayPal or credit card. It's all too much effort for like a small group of people. So it's much easier to simply pre-fill basically the transfer. But you have to make sure that you fill in the correct IBAN, because I didn't. I used another IBAN in the first 3 days of registration, but luckily nobody sent the money to the wrong place. So if you have a QR code, you really should check it and check it again whether it contains the wanted information or not, especially if it's then about transferring money. But on the other hand, this is really, really convenient. You scan this QR code and then your banking app opens up, if your banking app supports this. Mine doesn't. And you have a pre-filled credit transfer with the recipient and the amount, and even whatever name is given in this string. So it can be useful, but you really need to think about what data you're actually putting in there. And another thing I've recently used a QR code for was when setting up WireGuard, and of course I didn't set up WireGuard, a VPN, beforehand, before I went on my way. No, I sat in a cafe and had my phone, which could log into my private machine, but my laptop could not log into my private machine, and I wanted to get my phone and my laptop to connect each other using WireGuard. But WireGuard has a public key of 32 characters, and typing that in on my phone was, not really great. So instead of working on what I really wanted to work on, I wrote a small module term QR code compact, which displays the creates a QR code from text and displays it in the terminal window, so that I then could scan that terminal window with my phone to get those 32 characters over to my phone. It was at least a bit less frustrating than trying to type in the correct 32 characters and then finding it doesn't work, but nothing telling me what went wrong. And this program uses the Unicode block characters to create the black and white, to create the black dots. The white dots are the terminal background. And this even should work today. So if you have a phone at hand, you can scan this QR code and it will tell you that the string is hello PerlKohaCon. So this is mostly a small toy, but it came handy and helped me with my frustration not getting any work done. So I got different work done. Oops, I see people still scanning, so. And yes, you can obviously also use it for URLs like PerlKohaCon.fi. But I believe you trust me. No? You want to scan it? And nobody screamed, so obviously it was the right URL. A second thing other people use QR codes for, and that I find very interesting, is login or session verification. For example, if you log in to the web interface of Telegram, it displays a QR code and you just scan that QR code with your Telegram app on your phone, and then you're also logged in on the browser. And this is a feature that I've always found very interesting. And my plan now is to I wrote a program to basically use your phone as a second factor for logging in. No, well, actually it's more like a first factor for logging in or for connecting a second device to your current browser session. I already said it. Telegram uses this, and Signal uses something like this, and also the Steam gaming app. I don't know if you know it. You can also log in to your Steam account by photographing the QR code that the main machine displays. And yes, the idea is if you have a CGI application or any web application, then you can maybe retrofit this login by QR code on this application. This only makes sense if you have to log in to that application more often than maybe once a day and are not allowed to keep your credentials on the browser. But it's an interesting toy. So what do I want to demonstrate? Well, first we have to log into the website with username and password. then I want to set up not app, it's a progressive web app, which is a website that you can install on your phone, and it behaves and looks like an app, but it does not go through the Google Store or Apple Store. You can just download and install it directly, and it's just written in JavaScript. And yeah, then I log in to the website on my desktop by photographing the QR code with my phone. And that's the whole plan. Now, how should this work? Well, we have the login page with the username and password field, and I also display a session ID using the QR code on that website. And the phone carries the username and also the password from the installation, and it picks up the session ID from the QR code and sends that session ID back to my server, and the server then logs in that session ID and tells the browser again that it's good to go, and now my session on my laptop is also logged in because, yeah, the machine trusts me because I supplied the username from my phone. So yeah, let's go to that website, and hopefully let's first check whether I do have internet. Yes, I do have internet. This is good. So let me reload. This is the website, and the very secret username is demo, and I'm not telling you the password. It has 4 letters. And then I am logged in. Is the font large enough? I mean, there's not really much interesting to read there, but yeah. Okay, and now hopefully I can switch to my phone. And now I want to set up a QR code for login. And in my browser, I scan that QR code and open it. And it has installed the application. And now I can tell it to install. Oops, oh, the connection was lost. No? There it is. Okay, sorry. And now I can install this. Hello? Please let me install it. On my screen. And there the second. See, it doesn't have a fancy logo, but yeah, this is now my login token. And the next step is to log out. And I get a fresh QR code. And now I scan this QR code with the new login app, and I'm logged in on my phone. And I don't get forwarded here onto the logged in page. I believe this is the bane of live demos. I should have faked it. Yeah, I don't know what the problem is. The page checks every 5 seconds whether, the correct information has arrived. But, yeah. Anyway, I hope you believe me that in theory it would work, because, I don't want to do a debugging session right now. I'm sorry. It would have been much nicer if the demo had worked, but yeah, that's the risk of doing live demos. Now, how does the code work? Well, it is written using the Modulicious web framework, and that part does basically everything. It generates the QR code, it validates the login information, either coming in through the normal login form or from the phone using the QR code. Yeah, let's look at the three parts. The login HTML URL simply checks whether username or password are correct. And if you post information, the handler checks whether the source is the mobile phone or the traditional login form, and then sets the session to logged in. And whenever the image for the login QR code is requested, we simply generate the image with the current session ID. This is like maybe 100 lines of code. It's also on GitHub, so it's not really hard. And the JavaScript code is a bit more code, but it's mostly boilerplate to set up something that you can install on your phone so that it looks like an app, and that it does not need to load from a web server. So the one library I needed was the QR code scanner library, which uses the camera and then recognizes QR codes that the camera sees. And that's basically all you need from the JavaScript side. And even the boilerplate, it's not much code. It's like maybe 200 lines of code at most. So it's not hard to retrofit this into an existing application. The only snag I ran into is you need to be able, within your application, within your framework, to update the session data of a different session, which is natural because the telephone comes in first as a different session than the laptop. So you need to be able to set the laptop to logged in from the phone. And if they have different sessions and your framework of choice does not allow you to update different sessions, that's hard. What you really want is rate limiting, because otherwise somebody could use this side door to break maybe into your application. If you have rate limiting on username and password logins, you should also have rate limiting on logins by QR code. Besides the demo problem, I also found another problem when using Modulicious. Modulicious has no persistent session. The session information lives on the client computer, which is bad if I want to update the session information of some other computer. So I looked for other session handlers that store the session in the database, but there is only one module for handling sessions, MojoX session, and this module needs some patches, which I have already published on my GitHub, but I haven't submitted them to the maintainer of MojoX session yet. I fear if I submit the patches, he will say, "Oh, great, you have patches. Why don't you take over the maintenance of the module?" And I have quite some modules like that already. So I should do it, I know, but I've been dragging my feet a bit about that. I was surprised that Modulicious has no plugin for storing sessions as separate files in a very simplistic way, which would have fit my demo application quite well if I don't want to set up a database and whatever. So what do I want to do with this? I really want to implement TOTP, which is a time-based one-time pad, so that the phone part does not send the clear text password, well, over HTTPS, but that the password is not transferred in any way at all, but the phone creates a new number based on the current time and the username and password, and transfers that number. And on the receiving side, that number can simply be checked whether the calculation is correct. So that would increase the security a bit. And that's it. I hope you found it interesting. Do you have questions or comments? No questions, no comments. I thank you for your attentions, and if you want to talk to me afterwards, feel welcome. And the slides will be online in the next few days once I get to a shell connection back home. Thank you.